CHICKEN. Use the code CHICKEN in the shop.
Hey guys, welcome back to Chicken Brawl. I am your host, The Chicken, and in today's video, I wanted to do a bit of a tier list, and kind of a subjective one. I think this will be kind of fun. So, today we're going to be talking about who is the strongest brawler in Brawl Stars. And by strongest, I don't mean the best player. I mean physically the most dominant. If Shaquille O'Neal was in Brawl Stars, which brawler would he be? So, we're going to go through each and every single brawler, and we're going to be starting out with Mr. 8-Bit. So 8-Bit, he's pretty beefy. I mean, he's got a pair of guns on him. So I would say he's definitely going to be up there. He's also a robot, which probably gives him a little bit more of an advantage than some of his human counterparts. Amber, physically, I think, yeah, not much there. Same with Angelo, definitely not physically one of the strongest. Ash, you could probably make a bit of an argument for. I'd say Ash is probably a little bit weaker than 8-Bit, just because his actual body parts are a lot smaller. He's got the big square, rectangle kind of trash can build, but I don't think he's as big as 8-Bit. Next up we have Red Wizard Barley, and he's kind of a skinny old man, so he's not going to make the list. B is a little kid, so no. Next up we have Belle, which is kind of like an old lady, so she's not going to be in the running as well. Barry. Now, Barry's different because he's part horse. He's kind of like a centaur, but he's flying, and he's also has like spaceship armor. So I would probably put Barry above 8-Bit. I'd say as of right now, Barry's probably physically the strongest that we've gone through so far. Next up, we got BB. I don't think she would be in the running. We have Bo. Bo's probably just a little bit weaker. He might be number 2 or number 3 on what we've seen so far, but I don't think he's quite as strong as Barry. Bonnie is too different. Doesn't look physically strong. Brock is, he's a sniper troop. Smaller frame, smaller build physically, so I don't think he's quite as physically strong as some of the other ones that we've looked at so far. And then we've got Bull. Now, a lot of you guys probably thought Bull was going to be number 1, and I might have to agree with you. Especially Viking Bull. I mean, dude is just built like a giant Viking. He's huge. He's got a huge chest. He's got huge arms. Not much in the leg department, but I'd say Bull is probably out in front of number 1 right now. Then we got Buster. Buster would probably be kind of middle, like B or A. Definitely has some solid muscle mass, but not as strong as Bull or maybe somebody else like that. Buzz is an interesting one. This is Buzz Patrick, so I feel like we have to put him into his kind of normal attire. I would put Buzz as probably in the A tier, something like that. Definitely can hold his own, but not one of the absolute strongest in the game. Buzz Lightyear's a temporary brawler, so who cares? Byron is an old man with a staff. He's an old wizard, kind of like Gandalf. And yeah, physically, not too much prowess. Then we've got Carl. Carl's an interesting one, because although he's very strong, as a brawler, he's not very strong physically. He gets most of his power and his strength from his Sultan moon crescent thing that he throws. But in terms of his melee power, not so much. Charlie, I think we can all agree that Charlie is probably... Although she does look pretty menacing there. Charlie's a brawler that I forgot about, honestly. She was so good when she first came out, but physically, not too much. Same with Chester, not a lot going on there. Then we got Mr. Chuck. Chuck is kind of a scorpion-looking thing. Chuck is actually a train, which is kind of cheating since we're talking about players' physical builds. We can skip ahead a bit. I don't think we have to cover every single brawler. Clancy, I would definitely throw in the mix. He's got that big tail. And especially with crabs. Crabs are pretty physically dominant, like with their claws and stuff. They can get some good, like, crunch power. So I would put Clancy as probably A or S tier, maybe. Daryl's one you'd probably think of as being strong. But when you break it down, Daryl's really just holding 2 shotguns. And we don't really know what he's able to do. I mean, I guess he rolls at people physically, but Daryl's also a robot. Like, if you look at his eyes, he actually looks like one of the bots in the like Robo, that old mode with the giant guy. So I don't know if I would put Daryl quite as high as most people think. Now the next one is Mr. Primo. Now Primo's pretty buff. He's pretty buff. He's got the big shoulders, he's got the big chest, and doesn't really have the legs to match the rest of his body. But he's pretty solid. He's pretty solid. I would say right now, Primo's probably number 2 to Bull. Okay? And I think that's fair. Next, we got Frank. Now, Frank is he's literally a monster. He's literally a monster. If we look at his normal build, I mean, look at the size of dude's forearms. They're bigger than his biceps and triceps put together. He's built like a Frankenstein Popeye. So I would say, and especially based on his health and stuff, and the fact that he shoots, well, his attack is melee. He's holding a gigantic hammer that half the brawlers probably couldn't even hold. I'd say Frank's got to be our number 1 right now. So if we scroll through a little bit farther, we got Hank. I wouldn't say Hank is super strong physically. Well, if that's what Hank looks like, and he's that little kind of dog-looking guy, then it's more about Hank's battleship, I guess. Which is kind of funny. I never really realized that. So Hank actually doesn't exist. He's just a tank, so he's not going to be on the list. Kenji, I mean, if we're talking about just physical strength, yes, Kenji's obviously very good and very strong in the sense of being a good attacker and stuff, but physically there's not that much there. We've pretty much gone through most of the really strong ones. Like there's a lot of brawlers that aren't like human, so it's kind of difficult to do this. Some of them are smaller and they're better at like agility or like shooting from really far away, so it's kind of like a different thing. Rosa we could probably make a case for. Certainly the strongest female brawler, I would say. And yeah, she's like melee punch. I think Rosa's right up there, honestly. She's probably A or S tier. Probably S tier. Based on some of the other ones. She might be like top 5. Because she's pretty beefy. RT, Poco, Piper, Rico, no. Roofs, he means well, but he's too funny. Sam's an interesting one. If we go to just default skin, Sam's pretty beefy. Because he only hits twice. But 1440, he's got like 10,000 health. Sam's right up there with Rosa, with Frank, Primo, and Bull. Really beefy. I'd put him in the higher tier for sure. And then who else do we got if we skip through here? Surge, you could probably make the argument for, but Surge is a robot, so it's a little bit different. But I'd probably put Surge towards the higher end of A tier, I would think. And that's basically it, guys. So we finished with Surge, Sam, Rosa. Where did Rosa go? Did we skip over Rosa? Yeah, Surge, Sam, Rosa. Was Frank the next one? Rosa. Frank, Primo. Maybe Daryl, Clancy, and Bull. Those were, in my opinion, the strongest brawlers physically in the game. But I want to hear from you guys. You guys let me know what you think down below in the comments. Appreciate you. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next one. Chicken out. Back.